Why does construction spend less than any other industry on technology and innovation? Why hasn't construction been able to keep up with productivity increases like manufacturing has? How do we reverse these negative trends? If you've asked yourself any of these questions in your career as an architect, engineer, contractor, fabricator, material supplier, technology provider, owner, or operator, this podcast is for you.
These are true stories
of the shared pains
facing designers,
builders,
inspectors,
and operators
on our quest to
streamline collaboration
in the digital age. Find out what happens
when industry and technology
stop playing nice
and start getting real.
We are the Construction
Progress
Coalition.
And this is the Shared Pains Podcast.
Welcome to episode 0 of the Share Pains podcast. My name is Sasha Reed, and as your host, my role is to help all of us gain a new perspective on the systemic change needed for the built environment to thrive in the digital age. Before we embark on this journey to understand and overcome the industry's shared pains, we first need to explain a little bit about who we are and why we're so passionate about solving these admittedly boring integration challenges, and describe the value you should expect to gain from future episodes. Before giving you my backstory, allow me to introduce you to the two gentlemen that are really running the show here. Here to check me on my perspective is Dan Smulillo, CPC's Thought Leadership Chair and show producer. Dan is Construction Technology Specialist at the Walsh Group in Chicago. So Dan, tell us, what exactly does a Construction Technology Specialist do?
Well, at the Walsh Group, I started out in the field as a project engineer, actually doing a lot of quality safety supervision, kind of boots in the mud there. And as my career advanced, I became really involved in the field technology that we're using on a day-to-day basis. Come a few years after that, I grew into an operations role of a construction technology specialist. And what I do is I oversee a lot of the technology that we use on a day-to-day basis on the construction site, and kind of coming up with the protocols of how we manage the data, what's the proper usage of the data, how do we even input the precise data that we need to know from these different tools and aspects, and how we handle the ever-changing tools and feature sets that come out every day in the role. So as that role, it's really a hodgepodge of different things and trying to understand all the different aspects of construction technology and how they change daily.
Which in short means you're highly qualified to be a voice on this podcast. And given your background, it's not just that. I'm also very grateful to have Dan's technical knowledge, both in audio recording as well as construction, to support the podcast, because Lord knows it takes a village. I am also very excited to welcome CPC's Executive Director and this podcast's unofficial investigative reporter, Nathan Wood. And for those of you who haven't met Nathan or seen him speak at industry conferences, he's the founder and CEO of Spectrum AEC. He has spent the last few years really driving awareness around the challenges facing not just contractors, but all project participants, and really helping us to differentiate roadblocks from barriers. He's also introduced this concept of shared pains on social media, really bringing together multiple perspectives with the hashtag shared pains. So Nathan, what exactly classifies a shared pain? Tell us a little bit about it.
So I'll have to be the first to give credit to Chris Langiza, actually, who brought that up at an Autodesk University CPC discussion they were having just a couple years ago about really, again, the shared pains are any interoperability or integration challenge that you've faced as a designer, as a builder, as someone on the inspection side, whether for the city or just doing punch lists, to the actual end use operators of all the facilities that could be facility quality managers and different end users. But I think everybody has their different language, their different way of describing the challenge that they're facing with just, we want to get the data that we care about and not really anything else. And we want it to be in the program that we care about. And unfortunately, we live in a world where in our personal lives, we can have that. We can have our cake and eat it too. But yet it seems like when we enter the business world, all of a sudden we can't. So, shared pains is really a sort of a call to action for everybody that is facing these technology adoption and integration challenges, and a way for us to communicate with one another, identify where the root causes are of them, and actually start to address them so that we can begin to work in the business world the same way we do in our personal lives.
So really, you're kind of taking what was a groundswell social movement and putting it into something that can be much more actionable for everybody to participate in by having a podcast.
Yes, because everybody knows we're all extremely busy, and the only time it seems like we ever have is our commute to and from work. So hopefully in these 20 or 30 minute commute to work, or sometimes more, maybe you can catch a couple episodes that you can get some little nuggets of how to overcome these shared pains, how to really address them, have the conversations between the people, the change in process, and all the great new technology that's coming out to solve these shared pains collectively.
Yeah. And that brings me to how exactly do I fit into this well-oiled machine here?
Yes, Sasha, you have to tell us all about your shared pains and how you brought me here. Because again, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you.
Well, again, I think this is a collaborative effort to say the least. And a little bit about my background is I come from view the AEC industry through several different lenses, starting out in the trade partner or office furniture supplier to technology and customer advocate at Bluebeam, and then spending some time as a standardization realist during my time with Building Smart Alliance. And then here as co-founder of the same coalition that brings you this podcast today. And what I've really learned during this time is that while every project and project team is unique, our challenges are more or less the same, and that's across the globe. And when it comes to adopting new processes or technology, there's much to be learned from our shared success and, almost more importantly, failure. Over the course of this series, we will bring together different perspectives across industry and technology to have an honest conversation about what it really takes to overcome those adoption barriers, whether they be legacy contracts or culture. The process is fairly simple: digest, debate, decide, and deliver. We digest the root causes of our most common collaboration challenges, debate opportunity cost versus return on investment potential, so that you can decide which new processes or technologies will deliver the most value to you and your organization. In closing, thanks for listening to our inaugural episode, and thanks to Nathan and Dan for making this all possible. I think I speak for the gentlemen when I say that we are looking forward to taking this journey together and moving the industry forward into the digital age. For more information, you can go to constructionprogress.org to sign up for notifications on events and future podcasts. And we look forward to meeting you here.